Hey fellow vegans, I hope you're doing great. Today let's talk about the whole food plant-based diet for managing or for reversing diabetes. So if you are currently suffering from diabetes, or if you know a person that is suffering from this disease, or maybe you just want to know more about how to deal with this properly, because it's a very common disease. A lot of cases are actually also undiagnosed in the US and in the rest of the world. So today this video should explain you everything that you need to know about diabetes, the two different types of diabetes and which role nutrition can play in managing the disease or reversing it. So just give me a couple of minutes of your time. I'm going to explain you the ins and outs of what you need to know, and all I ask in return is for you to smash the like button so this channel here stays in good favor of the YouTube algorithm gods. So let's just jump right into it. There are two types of diabetes. There's diabetes type 1 and diabetes type 2. And those two diseases are very different in their origin and in their behavior, so to speak. Diabetes type 1 is an autoimmune disease. It's also called juvenile diabetes. What this means is essentially you have the pancreas, which produces insulin, a hormone, and pancreas is an organ. And your body is attacking the pancreas. That's why it's called an autoimmune disease. So your immune system sees the pancreas as something bad and then attacks it, which makes the pancreas unable to produce insulin. That's why you don't have enough insulin to function properly. That's the diabetes type 1. It's an autoimmune disease. And then you have the diabetes type 2, which is called a chronic disease too. It's called the disease of affluence, which means based on our lifestyle, we created this disease. It's mainly found in westernized civilizations with the Western diet, so to speak. What we have to understand about diabetes type 2 is that essentially it works quite different to diabetes type 1. Diabetes type 2, you have the pancreas working correctly, you have insulin, which is enough to function properly, but somehow the insulin can't go into the cell. So insulin, the hormone, functions as a key to unlock the cell so the fuel, glucose, can go into the cell. But in diabetes type 2, this is not functioning correctly. So we have diabetes type 1, you don't have enough insulin, you don't have enough keys, so to speak, to open the cell. And diabetes type 2, you have the keys available, sometimes in excess, but they don't function properly. So here's where diet comes in. Diabetes type 1 is an autoimmune disease, as we've seen before. And autoimmune disease is generally thought that you need 3 things for you to get one. Like also when it comes to Hashimoto's, for example, it's a common autoimmune disease. You need 3 things. Number 1, you need to be genetically predisposed to having an autoimmune disease. Number 2, you need to have some environmental triggers. This can be medicine, this can be trauma, whatever. And 3 things, and the third thing, so to speak, is a leaky gut, like gut permeability, which means that your gut is not as good as it could be. You have problems with your gut. Why? Why is this an issue when it comes to autoimmune diseases? Because 80% of your immune system is located in your gut. That's why it's important. When it comes to diabetes type 1, it's very hard to reverse it. As far as I know, there's no real studies when it comes to reversing disease. Maybe you can alter it a little bit with a whole food plant-based diet, but the hopes are not that high when it comes to diabetes type 1. When it comes to diabetes type 2, however, which we know is a disease of affluence, which we created through lifestyle, through our nutritional choices, there's a lot of things that you can do. Why? Because when you lose your weight, when you eat less animal fat or animal protein, in this regard, you would decrease the fat content of your cells, especially when it comes to animal fat, and you decrease your body mass index. You would decrease the fat content of your cell, which makes it more likely for insulin, again, which is a key, to open the cell. And Dr. Neal Barnard talks about this effect, that's where I got this information from, is that cells are clunked with fat, clunked with lipid. They're full of fat, so to speak. And that's why the insulin cannot open the cell as good as it should. So that's why the glucose can't go in, and that's why you need to take medication to function properly in this regard when it comes to glucose going into the cell and insulin working properly. That's why a whole food plant-based diet can help you when it comes to diabetes type 2, but it's very hard to be helpful. It might be a little bit helpful when it comes to diabetes type 1, but they're not really like studies backing this up as much as it is with diabetes type 2. There's some very good studies from Dr. Esselstyn, which has a lot of experience in this regard. So diabetes type 2, if you're currently suffering from it, if you got it later than, let's say, 20 years old, 30 years old, you can very likely reverse or reduce your symptoms if you follow a whole food plant-based diet. So if this video was helpful for you, if you think there was any value in this video, then smash the like button so this channel here stays in good favor of the YouTube algorithm gods, and subscribe for further cool videos from this channel. And if you want to get coached by me, I'm a vegan fitness coach. You can go to qualitygains.com, you can watch the free training and schedule a free call with me. Okay guys, see you next time.